A lot of people are upset about what we're putting out right now. Good, because I'm not here to make your life pleasant. Drivers, companies, brokers, dispatchers, some say we're attacking them, some say we're hurting the industry. But I want to explain exactly why we're doing this and why we're not going to stop and why 2026 is going to be different. Because right now, truck drivers are losing from every direction. This isn't an attack, it's a pattern. And let me be clear about this, crystal clear. We're not attacking trucking. We're not attacking drivers, and we're not attacking good companies. What we are doing is exposing a pattern. And once you start seeing this pattern and understanding the pattern, it's hard to not unsee it. And here at Big Rig Nation, we don't operate on opinions or rumors. We see this industry through settlements, through contracts, through pay statements. And when you start getting 10, 15, 20 drivers a day sending you their paperwork, a very clear picture starts to form. And that picture is ugly. You see, drivers are losing from every end. And right now, drivers are getting hit from every single side. Owner-operators are losing money to companies that are taking it straight out of their settlements. They're not even paying them on time. Some of them are losing money to brokers, and they're not getting the detention pay that they're owed. I get messages every single day. A broker kept $600 of mine. What should I do? And we tell them exactly what to do. Go after their bond. You might not be able to work with them later, but someone needs to do something about this. Okay? It needs to be done. That's how this is supposed to work. And we want to help you to be able to do that. This is happening every single day in our country, day in and day out. Drivers in lease purchase programs are getting buried in deductions, overcharged, nickel and dime, told this is just how it works. And no, it's not. I'm seeing W-2 drivers having money taken out of their checks for things that should never, ever be touched. And if you're a W-2 driver, your pay is your pay, period. No one has the right to touch your money. And the real problem is there's a lot of no transparency, none. And here's the shadiest part of all this. A lot of companies are not transparent on purpose. They don't want drivers to know how much money is actually being made. They don't want drivers to understand the math, and they don't want drivers to succeed beyond dependency. Ask yourself this. If a company really wanted to help you succeed, why are they paying you $1.50 a mile on freight that's paying $3? Does that sound like partnership, or does it sound more like control? If companies really wanted to help drivers become owner-operators, why don't they put the actual price of the truck in the contract before you ever sign on that dotted line? They don't hide this by accident. And let's talk about the enforcement gap. Here's something that nobody talks about. The FMCSA handles safety, but there's no real policing of the business side of trucking. Someone can steal from a driver through deductions, withheld pay, settlement manipulation, and the answer is always the same. That's a civil matter. That means court, years of court, money drivers don't have, time that families don't have. And the people doing this, they know it. By the time anything happens, the money is gone, it's been moved, the company's been restructured, or they disappeared. And I'm talking about there is millions of dollars being lost in this industry and stolen from drivers. It's got to be. And guess who's the one holding the bag? The drivers. That's not a broken system. That is the system. And drivers that are waiting and protesting and why this is failing, we've seen all this before. A couple of years ago, trucks rolled all the way to Washington, D.C. They lost days of work to be there. They were told things were going to change, that things were going to get better, and not a single meaningful thing changed. And that's not an insult to drivers who went. Those drivers paid real money to be there. And you see, that's the problem. Truck drivers can't afford to lose days of work, and owner-operators can't afford to sit around waiting on promises. Drivers need their money now. We live in an expensive country. And I'm not saying convoys or strikes never work. I'm saying they're old-school methods that cost drivers money up front with no guarantee on the back end. Most drivers don't even have that luxury. So why does Big Rig Nation exist? So this just wasn't me. A very group of smart people sat down and asked one question. How do we help drivers right now? Not 5 years from now, not after a lawsuit, right now. What can we do to help them? And their answer was simple. Transparency, exposure, and education. Because here's the truth. A company can't steal from drivers if drivers don't go to work for them. Sunlight changes that behavior very quickly. And we've already got real results from the YouTube videos that we've done. We've already seen this work. Families that didn't have time or money for court, drivers that had no leverage. Once the spotlight was turned on to them, suddenly the money appeared, suddenly mistakes were found, and suddenly companies wanted to make it right. Thousands and thousands of dollars have been offered back in weeks, not years. Not because the system worked, but because we're putting the right pressure where it needs to be. What we are doing is making accountability for drivers. And I want to speak directly to another group of drivers too, all right? And this is drivers with bad records. Drivers who can't get hired by a normal company right now because you've done a lot of really bad things to yourself. We understand why some of you end up in these lease purchase programs. You got to make money, you got to pay bills. We get that. But here's the hard truth. When you work for organizations built on exploitation, and that's exactly what it is, you're not fixing your situation. What you're doing is fueling it. And don't think they won't take from you, because they will in a New York second. Your record doesn't protect you, okay? So clean up your driving and start taking accountability, because there are companies that will help you rebuild. They're hard to find, but you got to take the time to find them. And we will help you find them too if you're having that much difficulty. You deserve better than being used, okay? And about this pushback, I'm not anti-company. Companies should make money. What I am against is non-transparent deductions, taking money drivers have earned and leaving families broke. That's not business. And when people come into our comments or to our threads to start protecting the companies, we know why you're doing this. We're going to remove you. Not because we fear debate. That's the last thing I'm fearing. If you want to critique what we're saying, it's simple. Send us your numbers. Send us your math. I'll give you an honest evaluation. And I want to address one more thing, because this keeps coming up. When people threaten us with lawsuits, let me be very clear about how that works. We are a media company. And when you do that, it doesn't silence anything. It does just the opposite. It opens the door to discovery. That means documents, that means records, that means everything gets looked at. And that's not just by us. That's about the entire operation. So before anyone starts throwing around legal threats, understand this. This isn't about intimidation. It's about transparency. And transparency cuts both ways. We stand behind what we publish because it's based on documentation, patterns, and math. If someone believes that's wrong, there's a process for that. And threats aren't it. A lot of people think they know what they're doing. A lot of people don't. Even some doing it kind of right still haven't figured it all out. And I'll tell you this right now, I'm still learning also. Anyone who says they've got this business completely figured out, you're just lying to yourself. The difference is we're willing to put the math on the table and actually look at it, because opinions don't pay bills. Math does. This has been going on for so long, for decades. Too much money, too many people are getting paid, too many drivers are getting hurt. Especially, it seems like in the last 10 years, it's just went to a whole nother level. That's why 2026 is going to be different, because the information is going to be coming out, the spotlight's going to be turned on, and if you're a bad player in this industry, we're looking at you. And all of Big Rig Nation is going to look at you too, because drivers are tired of being taken from, and we're here to help them stop it.